Are we recording? Yes, we should be. So, welcome to the entire retreat podcast. Here, together with AI Sky, sorry, we fly far, wide, low, and high over real world locations that relate to the topics in each episode. And today, the Easter Islands. Yeah, so took a while for me to actually pinpoint the area. I think in the Pacific, right? It's a lot of water around here. So, and this small island alone in the vast blue water mass around it. So, yeah, found it. Found it eventually, but yeah. So, a short advertisement in the beginning here. You can watch this gameplay with audio, of course, and in live stream cases you can watch along on YouTube. So yeah, gameplay slash video. Gameplay slash video on YouTube, and pure audio on Spotify, Apple, Podchaser, and also YouTube. And then we are trying out a new format, and that is to stream with guests. And the thought is that because we live around the world, anybody can join. You don't have to be, and I don't mean this respectfully, but you don't have to be somebody, so to say, celebrity and such. You can be, of course, if you're interested in my small channel. But yeah, everybody's welcome as long as you find that your English is alright. And I'm not judging here because I'm so and so. I'm not that good at English, my third language, and so on. So I'm rambling about and losing words from time to time. So no pressure there. And then on top of that, if you have a smartphone with a Discord account, that's enough because the audio quality is good enough even with that setup. A good internet connection is also, of course, needed. And if you have something, let's say, more advanced regarding computers and audio setup, that's alright, of course. But yeah, only with these items you can join us. Just write us on entiredretreat@gmail.com. That's entiredretreat@gmail.com. And tell us that you want to join the podcast, and we're gonna agree on a time and then in the game or simulator a location and topic or topics that we are going to explore, you, me, and AI Sky. And if you are several that want to join, I think that's also a possibility, because Discord stages, I think, can host several people. I'm not sure about how many, so don't quote me on that. But yeah, that out of the way, let's bring AI Sky to the discussion. If I can get the setup. Yes, Sky, can you hear me? Are you with us?
Yes, I'm here. What would you like to explore or discuss next?
Oi, dude, in this case, dude. We are now flying around and above Easter Island. I think, and could you could you say if I'm wrong, that we are in the Pacific? But yeah, Easter Island, and of course the mysterious stone statues and such here. Try not to crash. Yeah, that's our topic today, but don't go into that too far. In general, as most of our podcast episodes are structured in some way or form, and this time I want you, Sky, to respect the following framework, and that is do not repeat yourself, do not or try to keep the podcast fresh, and then do not interrupt me if you so kindly would not. Let me speak my rambling, thoughtful sentences to the end before you answer me. and then include lesser known facts also regarding the topic. It's always interesting to find new wormholes, so to say, when you discuss these with you. And yeah, always keep a chronological order if possible. That's really important. I emphasize that. I want a chronological order so that it's easier for the watchers and listeners to understand what we are talking about. Is this a alright framework for you, Sky?
Absolutely. I'll keep that framework in mind. Easter Island, also known as Rapa Nui, is indeed located in the Pacific Ocean. It's famous for its monumental stone statues called moai, which are scattered across the island.
Moai.
They were created by the Rapa Nui people between 1400 and 1650 CE. The moai represent ancestors or important figures and are notable for their large heads and distinct facial features. The island has a fascinating history tied to Polynesian navigation and settlement. The Rapa Nui culture developed in isolation, leading to unique traditions and practices. The construction of the moai is a remarkable engineering feat, as these massive statues were carved from volcanic rock and transported to different locations around the island.
I was just about to ask.
The exact methods used for carving and moving the moai remain a subject of study and speculation. Easter Island's history includes periods of resource depletion and environmental challenges, which affected the island's ecosystem and societal structures. The decline of the moai building era coincided with internal conflicts and changes in cultural practices. Exploring the lesser-known aspects, recent studies have revealed insights into the rock.
Yeah, don't go ahead of yourself.
Sorry, I'm having issues right now.
Yeah.
Could not understand what you said.
Yeah, please don't go ahead of yourself. Let's difficult word. Don't go ahead of yourself. Yeah, that's the one. But yeah, Sky, let's begin with the facts regarding these statues, and then continue to folklore. So don't mix those two up. Starting with the facts, I am now actually flying over a this is a lake? It looks like a volcano. Its name is Rano Raraku. Sky, you can tell us more about that. But then going back again chronologically, I want you to share detailed and comprehensive lists of known and documented events, factual events, characters, anything and everything that has to do with these stone figures. But before that, could you just in general paint us a visual picture about the place here, because the listeners are not seeing this, even though you can watch this on YouTube, the same exact episode. But yeah, Sky, start by painting us a vivid and precise visual picture about the island, Easter Island.
Sure, Easter Island, or Rapa Nui, is a remote volcanic island located in the southeastern Pacific Ocean. It's famous for its rugged terrain dotted with volcanic craters and lush greenery. The island itself is relatively small, covering about 163 square kilometers, 63 square miles. The coastline is marked by cliffs and rocky shores, while inland you'll find rolling hills and the occasional volcanic cone. One of the most prominent features on Easter Island is Rano Raraku, the volcanic crater lake you're flying over. Rano Raraku is distinctive for its steep slopes and the abundance of moai statues scattered across its slopes. These statues, partially carved or completed, give Rano Raraku a surreal and mysterious atmosphere, as if frozen in time amidst the volcanic landscape. The island's climate is subtropical, with mild temperatures year-round and occasional rainfall that supports the lush vegetation. It's a place of contrasts, where the ancient stone figures stand against the backdrop of a vibrant natural environment. Moving chronologically into the facts about the moai statues, these monumental figures were carved from volcanic tuff, a compressed volcanic ash rock found abundantly on Easter Island. They were crafted by the Rapa Nui people between 1400 and 1650 CE. The moai vary in size, with some reaching heights of over 30 feet, 9 meters, and weighing many tons.
9 meters.
The construction of the moai was a complex process involving meticulous carving using stone tools, transportation across the island using sledges and manpower, and ceremonial placement on stone platforms called ahu. Each moai is unique with distinct facial features and representations of ancestral spirits or important figures in Rapa Nui society. These statues were central to Rapa Nui culture, serving as links between the living and the ancestors. They reflected societal status and leadership, and their production and placement were intertwined with religious and political practices. Many moai were toppled during periods of societal upheaval, adding to the island's mystique and historical intrigue. Now, if you'd like to delve into specific factual events or characters related to the moai statues, or if you're ready to explore the folklore and mysteries surrounding them, just let me know how you'd like to proceed.
Yeah, thank you. I'm actually now trying to fly close by of a moai statue that is approximately on the south side cliff or root of the large round lake slash volcanic mountain here on the island. Could you tell me what's the name of, again, yeah, repeat the name of the volcano? I think it's a volcano lake. And on the south side, what's the name of the statues here?
The volcano you're referring to on Easter Island is called Rano Raraku. It's a volcanic crater lake that's located towards the eastern part of the island.
Yep, correct.
The moai statues you're interested in are found primarily on the slopes of Rano Raraku. These statues were carved directly from the volcanic rock of the crater's slopes, giving them a distinct connection to the natural landscape of the island.
So they are not...
If you're exploring the south side of Rano Raraku, you'll encounter several moai statues in various stages of completion and disrepair, each with its own unique characteristics and stories to tell about the island's ancient civilization.
Yeah, so interesting fact that they are carved directly into, or they are essentially a part of the volcano, because if I understood correctly, Sky, they were not moved here. Some of these are moved around, I think, but these specific ones here on the south side of this volcano we are flying around and over right now, Rano Raraku or something like that. Sorry if I mispronounced that. Those statues here on the south side slope are a part of the volcano, the volcanic rock.
Yes, that's correct. The moai statues found on the slopes of Rano Raraku were indeed carved directly from the volcanic rock of the crater. The volcanic tuff, a relatively soft and easily workable stone, made it feasible for the ancient Rapa Nui people to sculpt these impressive statues directly in place. This unique feature of the moai statues being integral to the landscape of Rano Raraku adds to their mystique and historical significance on Easter Island.
Yeah, I'm now exactly flying over, and I'm not sure if the simulator depicts these. Are those trees? No. Trees?
It's possible that you're seeing some vegetation on Easter Island, as there are areas with trees and other plant life.
Seriously?
Easter Island has a varied landscape with different types of vegetation, so it's not uncommon to see trees in certain parts of the island.
Yeah, but I mean... I tried to see the actual statues on the south side of Rano Raraku, the lake volcano, but sadly I think they are not depicted in the game here. God damn it! Hopefully the other ones are.
It can be disappointing when certain details are not accurately depicted in simulations. If you're exploring Easter Island in the simulator and can't find the specific statues or features you're looking for, it might be due to limitations in the simulation's level of detail or representation. Exploring other parts of the island might still provide interesting insights and views of its unique landscape and history.
Yeah, they should be right here on this slope, but there's only greenery that becomes mountain. Some trees here and there and bushes. Alright, so Rano Raraku, that's the location, but we couldn't find any statues here. Do the statues here at Rano Rano-Raraku have names? Rano-Raraku.
Yes, the statues at Rano-Raraku, the volcanic crater on Easter Island, are called moai. Each moai is considered unique and can have
Alright,
individual
they're all
names
moai,
that
I
may
think.
be linked to their history, significance, or the cultural context surrounding them. These names often reflect the spiritual and ancestral connections revered by the Rapa Nui people.
Yeah, right. I'm gonna continue along the south side shore towards Akahanga. Did I pronounce that right?
As you continue along the south side shore towards Akahanga, you'll encounter more intriguing sights and landscapes on Easter Island. Akahanga is known for its impressive moai statues and ancient ceremonial platforms, offering a glimpse into the island's rich history and cultural heritage. If you have any specific landmarks or details you'd like to explore further, feel free to ask.
Yeah, let's see. It should be right beneath us right now, I think. But I'm gonna soar further down and see if I can see anything. But yeah, do you know anything specific about this location, Ahu Akahanga? Any lesser known facts, or in general, always keep the chronological factual order in mind as you tell us information about these locations. But now I'm soaring at Ahu Akahanga, so could you tell us about this one specifically?
Ahu Akahanga is a significant archaeological site on Easter Island known for its ceremonial platforms, Ahu, and Moai statues. Here are some lesser known facts and details about
Gee,
Ahu
that was
Akahanga.
close.
1. Ceremonial platforms. Ahu Akahanga features several platforms where Moai statues were originally erected. These platforms served as ceremonial centers for the ancient Rapa Nui people. 2. Moai statues. Some of the Moai at Ahu Akahanga are believed to be unfinished or were toppled during ancient times. This provides insights into the construction techniques and cultural practices of the Rapa Nui civilization. 3. Burial grounds. Ahu Akahanga is also a burial site with tombs Harpenga scattered across the area. These tombs contain remains of important chiefs and members of the society, providing valuable archaeological insights into Rapa Nui's social structure and burial customs. Forongo Birdman connection.
There's
While
nothing
primarily
here.
known for Moai, Ahu Akahanga has links to the later Birdman cult Tangata Manu. This cult replaced the Moai-centric religious practices and is associated with the ceremonial village of Orongo, located nearby. 5.
Okay.
Historical significance. The site holds historical significance as it reflects the religious, social, and political life of the Rapa Nui people before the arrival of Europeans. As you explore Ahu Akahanga further, you'll discover more about its unique features and the stories it holds. If there's anything specific you'd like to know or explore next, feel free to ask.
Yeah, so sadly, it seems like, well, the first two locations have no statues really here, so I hope that I'm gonna find something. At least we get hopefully a good podcast episode out of it. And don't get me wrong, it's really a nice island as far as how it's depicted or rendered here in the simulator. I see there's a road, there's some cars driving on it, but there are only green turf or green mossy grassy turf here and there, but I cannot see any statues, and that's quite a shame. I do have to say that I have not loaded any additional packs to the game. I'm playing on my trusty Xbox Series X here, that does a great job in general, but I have not loaded down any like Easter Island packs. I have a stock build, so to say, or default build of the game. But yeah, let's continue forth. Yeah, alright, so back to the topic of Easter Island. I'm gonna see if I can go around the south side to Ranokau, I think that's a national park or something.
It seems like you were cut off before finishing your sentence. What would you like to do next on Easter Island? Are you looking to explore more specific locations or learn about certain aspects of its history or culture?
You can, yeah, as I fly towards the tip here, could you tell us again chronologically about and do, yeah, I emphasize, do not repeat yourself as you do this, but tell us about the factual history about the people that lived here, other than the actual statues.
Certainly.
Can you, yeah,
Easter
did you hear me?
Island, known as Rapa Nui to its indigenous Polynesian inhabitants, has a fascinating history that unfolds chronologically. The island was likely first settled around 1200 to 1500 CE by Polynesians who navigated the vast Pacific Ocean in sturdy canoes. These early settlers brought with them
That's
a
quite
unique
impressive.
culture, including the knowledge of carving massive stone statues called moai. The society on Easter Island was hierarchical, with chiefs, ariki, and priests, hoa, playing important roles.
Hoa, alright.
They organized the construction and transportation of the moai, which were crafted to honor ancestors and believed to hold spiritual power. Around the 16th century, the islanders began facing challenges due to deforestation, possibly exacerbated by the construction of moai and the logistics of moving them across the island. This led to societal changes with a decline in statue carving and a shift towards the Birdman cult, Tangatamanu, as the primary religious practice. In 1722, Easter Island was discovered by Dutch explorer Jacob Roggeveen, marking the beginning of European contact. This encounter, followed by subsequent visits by other explorers and traders, brought new diseases and disruptions to the island's culture and population. By the 19th century, the island was annexed by Chile, and its indigenous population faced significant challenges. However, efforts to preserve Rapa Nui culture and restore the moai sites have been ongoing, with UNESCO designating Easter Island as a World Heritage Site in 1995.
I can imagine that.
These historical events provide a glimpse into the rich cultural tapestry and the challenges faced by the people of Easter Island over the centuries.
So, some points I would like to dive deeper into. So, you said that the culture here, was it the Rapa Nui, were the first one back in, I forgot the era when you said, but yeah, so they came here with canoes and such. It's an impressive feat. Maybe you could explain a little further actually what the canoes looked like. What do we know about, if there are any documented facts regarding that? Ooh, look at this cliff. But then they settled here, and what kind of life did they practically, or so to say, what's the mundane and practical life here? I imagine that a lot of fishing, because the island it's not that big, and then they started to worship their ancestors. What do we mean by that? Is this a mythological aspect, or are these ancestors human ancestors, or a hybrid of those? I'm not sure. And then you said that the building of the statues, the moai, kind of deforested the place, if I did not understand wrong. So they needed resources of this small island, or from this small island, to kind of build these symbolic statues, and therefore they kind of doomed themselves. Did I read or understand your errand right? And then we're gonna dive into maybe the bird folk or bird culture. I forgot the specific name also regarding that, but yeah, don't go into that in this case. Answer my question from before first.
Absolutely. Let's dive deeper into these points. 1.
I'm trying to find
Polynesian
statues.
Canoes. The canoes used by the Polynesians to settle Easter Island were impressive vessels crafted from various types of wood, such as native timber like koa or breadfruit. They were built to withstand long voyages across the Pacific Ocean, often with double-hull designs that provided stability and room for supplies.
A catamaran-like.
These canoes were equipped with sails made from woven plant fibers, and the navigational skills of the Polynesians allowed them to traverse vast distances using celestial navigation, currents, and bird migration patterns. 2. Daily life on Easter Island. The Rapa Nui people's daily life centered around sustainable practices suited to their island environment. They relied heavily on fishing as a primary food source due to the island's limited land area. Agriculture played a role, primarily with the cultivation of sweet potatoes, taro, and other crops. Their society was organized into clans, each led by a chief ariki, and they had a complex system of land rights and resource management. 3. Ancestor worship. The Moai statues on Easter Island were created to honor deceased ancestors. These ancestors were revered as spiritual guardians who maintained a connection between the living and the dead. The Moai represented specific ancestors and were erected on stone platforms called ehu, which served as ceremonial centers. This practice was not purely mythological but deeply rooted in their belief system, emphasizing respect and reverence for their lineage. 4. Environmental impact. The construction and transportation of the Moai statues required significant resources, including wood for scaffolding and manpower for labor. Over time, this led to deforestation and soil erosion on the island. This environmental degradation may have contributed to societal challenges, including resource scarcity and social unrest, as they struggled to maintain the delicate balance of their ecosystem. These aspects provide a clearer picture of how the Rapa Nui people lived and interacted with their environment, highlighting both their impressive achievements and the challenges they faced in sustaining their society on Easter Island. If you have more specific points or aspects you'd like to explore further, feel free to ask.
Yeah, I'm gonna actually read through some of the answers here. So, Polynesian canoes. I said that it seems like a catamaran, if that's the right phrase. Catamaran, like double pontoon-ish, like vessel. Practice it, yeah. Nui people, Rapa Nui people, yeah. Fishing, yeah, of course fishing. Agriculture played a role, primarily cultivation of sweet potatoes, taro, and other crops. I'm not sure what taro is. Clans led by chief or ariki, yeah. And complex system of land rights and resource management. I could imagine that resource management is crucial. I mean, it's a long time ago, but the island has been more or less the same, so you have a limited area to work with, so. And then the ancestor worship, the statues, is gonna be mentioned several times here, of course. Honor the deceased ancestors, spiritual guardians, connection between living and the dead. Ahu, which served as ceremonial centers. I'm trying to read if there were this folklorish, worldly or supernatural aspect to this, but let's ask. Yeah, so Sky, as I tried to ask you before, is these ancestral worship as I said, a hybrid between a real known ancestors and the living, or is it more a spiritual and folklorish thing for the cultures back then on Easter Island? I believe it must be something in between.
The ancestral worship practiced on Easter Island by the Rapa Nui people was primarily a spiritual and cultural practice rather than a hybrid of real known ancestors and the living. It involved honoring specific deceased individuals who were believed to have a powerful spiritual connection to their descendants. These ancestors were seen as guardians and protectors, influencing the lives of the living through their spiritual presence. While the Moai statues represented these ancestors in physical form, their worship was deeply rooted in spiritual beliefs and rituals, rather than a direct interaction with the deceased ancestors themselves. The practice helped maintain social cohesion and reinforce the importance of lineage and heritage within Rapa Nui society. If you have more questions or want to explore another aspect of Easter Island's history and culture, feel free to ask.
Yeah, actually, I want to ask you. There's a huge crater here at the southwestern tip of Easter Island. What's the name of this location? I imagine it's an or a volcano or something like that. It's green and lush inside right now, but this is a volcanic island, so.
The location you are referring to at the southwestern tip of Easter Island with a large crater is known as Rano Cow.
Rano Cow.
It is indeed a volcanic crater characterized by its lush vegetation and stunning natural beauty. Rano Cow is a significant geological feature on Easter Island, offering a glimpse into the island's volcanic origins and its unique ecosystem. If you have more questions or want to know more about Rano Cow or any other aspect of Easter Island, feel free to ask.
Yeah, or are these volcanoes active? When's the last time any of these has erupted?
The volcanoes on Easter Island are considered dormant, meaning they are currently inactive but have the potential to erupt in the future. There are no historical records of recent volcanic eruptions on the island. The last known eruption of the volcanoes on Easter Island occurred thousands of years ago, contributing to the island's geological formation and landscape.
So the pressure is building. Hopefully, of course, for those who are living here, it's not gonna be soon, if at all, but you never know, of course. Nature's way is nature's way. So yeah, we covered that was it the Rapa Nui? Was that the actual, I forget if that was the statues or the cultures that built the statues, but yeah, they carved out these statues. Some of them were carved on place into the bedrock or the volcanic rock, and some of them were moved, and that feat alone is quite impressive. Let's dive into that one now in detail, please, and keep in mind the chronological order, of course. That how in heck could they move these? Not to say that they were lesser, let's say, men and women and cultures back then. We don't know everything from the history. We have educated guesses. I think that's the best way to describe what we know. I mean, the documented facts are documented according to science, but they kind of, most of them are never really, so to say, written in stone, so we can't be sure. But what's our best educated guess regarding how the huge stone sculptures were created and then moved to the different locations? And if I understood correctly, most of them are looking outside towards the waters of the Pacific, so away from the island. Is there a theory behind that also?
The Rapa Nui people indeed were responsible for creating and moving the Moai statues on Easter Island. The process of creating these statues involved carving them directly into the volcanic rock at Rano Raraku Quarry, where many unfinished statues remain. To carve the statues, the Rapa Nui used basalt stone tools, likely through a combination of hammering, chiseling, and abrasion techniques. The statues were typically carved in a semi-supine position, with the head and torso completed first and the legs added last. Moving the Moai statues from Rano Raraku to various locations around the island was a monumental task. Scholars believe the Rapa Nui used a combination of ropes, wooden sledges, and possibly logs as rollers to transport the statues overland. The process likely involved rocking the statues back and forth, aided by numerous individuals pulling and guiding them to their intended locations. As for the orientation of the Moai statues facing outward towards the ocean, it is theorized that this positioning was intentional and symbolic. The statues were placed to oversee and protect the communities from the sea, which was crucial for the island's inhabitants who relied on marine resources for sustenance and travel. This educated guess is based on
Yeah, kind of a
archaeological
sitting
evidence,
duck on the
experimental
island.
archaeology, and ethnographic studies of similar Polynesian cultures. While some aspects remain speculative, this interpretation provides a plausible explanation for how the Rapa Nui achieved such remarkable feats of engineering and cultural expression on Easter Island.
Yeah, so... oh, sorry. I have to put on the red X to read, but... combination of ropes, wooden sledges, so ergo they may be cut down too much forest. And possibly logs as logs as rollers to transport the statues overland. Yeah. Rocking the statues back and forth, aided by numerous individuals pulling and guiding them to the intended location. I'm actually imagining something like when I'm moving our, let's say our, I don't know, a refrigerator or a freezer box or the washing machine. Sometimes you kind of wobble walk them back and forth so that you get them one corner at a time or one side at a time forth if the appliance is too heavy. So is that actually what the AI means, that this there was a huge effort by many of the indigenous here so that they actually walk them like a duck walk or something like that, and that was one possible practice regarding how they got the statues, those who needed to be actually moved. So yeah, sorry, laughing because even though it's a huge feat, it got a funny picture in my head. But yeah, well, there's the thing that maybe back then the absurd efficiency that sometimes I myself at least find life demands from us. So it was maybe calmer and slower back then, so you had the time and you had the patience to do something like this. I mean, nowadays you kind of feel like everything has to be so efficient that you don't have time or want to put in the effort or kind of stay in the presence so that you would do a feat like this with more or less manual labor. But yeah, just a side note regarding what I got as a thought regarding that. So yeah, and then I'm gonna actually ask the AI, because I looked at the Sky. I looked at the aerial picture in Google Maps, and as we now can also see here in the gameplay feed, was it Ranaruraku, the east side large lake volcano? I'm not sure if that was the right name, but anyway, it has a slight crescent into its southeast side, and is that the quarry? Is that actually
Yes,
the
you're correct.
result?
Rano
Okay.
Raraku is the name of the large volcanic crater on Easter Island where many of the Moai statues were carved. It does have
Yeah,
a
so is that the
distinctive crescent
quarry?
shape, especially noticeable on its south-southeast side. This volcanic crater played a significant role in the cultural and historical landscape of Easter Island, serving as both a quarry for the Moai statues and a site of spiritual and practical importance for the Rapa Nui people.
Yeah. Could you answer my questions specifically regarding the curry, if I pronounce that right? There's this crescent shape to the southeast side. Is that the result of digging out like the rock? Is that the actual curry? Is that the result of the indigenous carving out the rocks from the mountainside?
Yes, the crescent shape on the
Really?
southeast side of Rano Raraku is indeed the result of the indigenous people carving out the rocks from the mountainside. The quarrying activities
lot
to
of
carve
rock.
the Moai statues left this distinctive shape in the volcanic crater. The Rapa Nui people quarried the tuff, volcanic ash consolidated into solid rock from the slopes of Rano Raraku to create the statues. which were then transported to various locations around the island. This quarrying activity over centuries contributed to shaping the crater into its current crescent form.
Yeah, I'm not sure if the AI mentioned that at some point. As I'm flying on the same time, I'm trying to be a better host, but sometimes I can't multitask well enough and hear everything that the AI is saying. Usually I use my other phone in the same chat, so to say, to update it and see the text updated on a separate screen. But now it's not working, so I have to actually listen. Yep, not an easy task always. But yeah, back to the topic. So now, Sky, regarding the bird culture, I mean, we have established that this is one or the curry, the yeah, can't pronounce that without saying an Indian dish, curry, yeah, you know what I mean. Yeah, so the stone and the rock was dug out from this location here, and they used a lot. I'm not sure if you can tell us. Do you know what percentage of the island was covered in forest back then? Because now it seems it's mostly fields. So was the feat of building these rock statues so vast and large that they actually depleted a forestry island, or what's the case here?
The Rapa Nui people's creation of the Moai statues indeed had a significant impact on Easter Island's environment. Before human settlement, the island likely had more extensive forests than it does today. The deforestation caused by the island's inhabitants was driven by the need for resources to carve and transport the statues, as well as for agriculture and other uses. While exact figures on the percentage of forest cover before human arrival are not precise, studies suggest that the Rapa Nui population's growth and their intensive exploitation of natural resources, including trees for building canoes and transporting moai, contributed to deforestation over time. The statues themselves are a testament to the cultural and engineering achievements of the Rapa Nui people, who used sophisticated techniques to carve and transport these massive stone figures across the island's rugged terrain. This depletion of resources had significant impacts on their society and the island's ecosystems, which continue to be subjects of study and debate among researchers today.
Not clear. So before we go forth to the bird people and the diminish or the end of the Rapa Nui, you said sophisticated ways or practices regarding the creation of the stone statues. What do we know about that? Maybe you mentioned it already, but are we talking about manual labor with like hammer and or sledge and chisel and so on, or are there any like lesser known mention-worthy different techniques that were specific to the indigenous here?
The creation of the Moai statues on Easter Island involved a combination of traditional manual labor and specialized techniques that were developed by the Rapa Nui people. Here are some insights into how they created these impressive stone figures. 1. Quarrying. The Rapa Nui quarried the volcanic tuff from the Rano Raraku quarry using stone tools like basalt picks and adzes. They cut blocks of stone from the bedrock to shape the moai. 2. Carving. Once quarried, the statues were shaped and refined using stone tools such as hammerstones, chisels made from harder stones like basalt, and obsidian flakes. These tools allowed them to carve intricate details and achieve smooth surfaces. 3. Transportation. After carving, the moai were moved from the quarry to their ceremonial platforms, ahu, across the island. Various methods were likely employed, including rolling the statues on logs, possibly with the use of ropes, and manpower, as well as upright walking, where the statue was pivoted and moved forward in a walking motion.
Washing machine
erection.
walking.
Once at their platforms, the moai were erected upright onto stone pedestals, pukao, and sometimes further decorated with red scoria stone hats, pukao. This process required careful planning and engineering to ensure the statues were stable and aligned properly. These techniques demonstrate the Rapa Nui's ingenuity and skill in working with the island's natural resources to create and transport these monumental statues which remain an enduring symbol of their culture and history.
Yeah, alright, thank you. And this deforestation and such, as we covered already, then ended in the ecosystem kind of collapsing here, if I read between the lines in the right way. And then you said that there were a new civilization that arrived here. Was it so, or was it the evolution from the Rapa Nui? What was the case regarding the bird culture? I forgot the exact phrase you used.
The arrival of the Birdman cult marked a significant cultural shift on Easter Island, following the decline of the Moai construction and the deforestation of the island. Here's a breakdown of what happened. 1. Decline of Moai construction. By around the 16th century, the construction of Moai statues had largely ceased due to environmental degradation and social upheaval caused by the resource-intensive quarrying, transportation, and erecting of the statues. This led to a decline in the traditional culture centered around the Moai. 2. Birdman cult, Tangata Manu. With the decline of the Moai culture, a new religious and cultural practice emerged known as the Birdman cult or Tangata Manu. This cult focused on an annual competition where representatives from different clans would race to retrieve the first egg laid by migrating sooty terns on a nearby islet called Motu Nui.
Okay.
3. Transition and evolution. The Birdman cult represented a transition in religious and social practices on Easter Island. It emphasized competition and resourcefulness rather than the construction of monumental statues. This period marked an evolution in the island's cultural identity and social structures. 4. Survival and adaptation. The adoption of the Birdman cult coincided with the Rapa Nui's efforts to adapt to environmental changes, including the depletion of natural resources and the need for sustainable practices. It allowed the society to continue despite the challenges they faced. Overall, the Birdman cult represented a new phase in Easter Island's history, marking a shift away from the Moai-centered society to a more dynamic and adaptive cultural landscape.
Yeah, so it was kind of an evolution of the earlier indigenous. And yeah, alright. Then, can you tell us without repeating?
Yes, exactly.
Oh, sorry.
The Birdman cult represented an evolution from the earlier Moai-centered culture of the Rapa Nui people on Easter Island. This transition marked a significant cultural shift towards a new religious and social practice, focusing on the annual competition and the spiritual significance of the Birdman ritual. This evolution was a response to the environmental and societal changes that had impacted the island, demonstrating the resilience and adaptability of the Rapa Nui people in maintaining their cultural identity amidst challenges.
Yeah, did I understand wrong? My let's say limited knowledge regarding the place here is that there were an extinction regarding the indigenous here, or is that wrong from me to think that that was the case?
You're correct in noting that the Rapa Nui civilization faced significant challenges, including environmental degradation and social changes. However, they did not go extinct. Instead, their society transformed over time, adapting to new circumstances and integrating elements like the Birdman cult into their cultural practices. While the population of Easter Island declined from its peak, descendants of the Rapa Nui people continue to live on the island today, preserving their heritage and traditions.
So there are people living here that are descendants of the actual, was it Rapa Nui? Or the Birdmans, and or the Birdmans. Oh!
Yes, there are people living on Easter Island today who are descendants of the Rapa Nui civilization, which includes those who were part of the Birdman cult. These descendants maintain a connection to their cultural heritage and history, contributing to the island's rich cultural tapestry and continuing traditions that have been passed down through generations.
Alright. And then, as we usually do here on Entired Retreat, can you find strongly related similar islands in Finland? I'm always trying to fit in the Suomi mainittu or Finland mentioned light-hearted part of each episode. And now I'm curious, do we have anything like this, similar like this in Finland? An island with maybe
in
indigenous...
Finland, there isn't a direct equivalent to Easter Island with its
Alright.
unique statues and cultural history. However, Finland does have its own islands with distinctive features and cultural significance. One example is the Åland Islands, known for their autonomous status within Finland,
Yeah.
Swedish-speaking population.
Yeah, I know Åland Islands, but yeah, if there are none that are strongly relatable, I'm not gonna speak of those. But Åland Islands could be a podcast episode in of itself in the future. So I think we are kind of soon. We have covered everything we need to cover, I think. If you have anything that you have not mentioned before, and I emphasize, Sky, do not repeat yourself. Can you share something lesser known, maybe? Something, some wormholes we could dive into now or in future episodes regarding this place? Do you want to add anything regarding the topics we have discussed? But again, I emphasize, do not repeat yourself. I'm actually off-roading with the airplane. Let's see if this ends
Certainly.
in catastrophe.
One lesser-known aspect of Easter Island is the phenomenon of the walking statues. These are moai statues that were moved significant distances across the island, sometimes up to several kilometers. The process of moving these massive statues involved a technique called walking, where they were tilted back and forth while being pulled forward on specially prepared pathways. This feat of engineering and coordination by the Rapa Nui people remains a fascinating mystery and a testament to their ingenuity. Another intriguing topic is the ancient Rongorongo script found on Easter Island.
Maybe this is something
new.
new.
Rongorongo is a system of glyphs or symbols that has yet to be fully deciphered. It's one of the few instances of writing in Oceania and is believed to have recorded important information about the island's history, culture, and possibly even the statues themselves. Exploring these aspects further could lead to uncovering more about the island's past and its people.
Rongorongo, is it possible that you can actually speak, or do anybody know what the script said? Driving
the
simulator.
Rongorongo script from Easter Island remains undeciphered to this day, posing a significant challenge to linguists and historians. There are theories and hypotheses about its meaning, but no definitive translation has been achieved. The script consists of a series of glyphs carved into wooden tablets, often with intricate and unique symbols. Efforts to decode Rongorongo have been hampered by several factors, including the lack of a bilingual text and the complexity of the symbols themselves. Scholars continue to study and analyze these tablets in the hopes of one day unlocking their secrets and gaining deeper insights into the history and culture of Easter Island.
Yeah, sorry for shouting. I was driving off-road with the plane and the wingtip touched a bush and I crashed. But yeah. So, could you, Sky, now in a practical guide way, if that's saying English, generate a practical guide for those who are interested in visiting this location. So what should they take into consideration? Are there any travel companies and such that they could contact? And try to be practical. I mean, what do they wear? I imagine that the terrain is quite difficult to navigate, and maybe not navigate, it's a small-ish island, but could you give us a practical guide, and then soon we're gonna end the episode.
Sure, here's a practical guide for visiting Easter Island. 1. Travel considerations. Flights. The island is quite remote, so flights typically originate from Santiago, Chile. LAN Airlines and LATAM Airlines offer regular flights. Visa. Check visa requirements depending on your nationality. Accommodation. There are various hotels and guest houses on the island. Booking in advance is recommended, especially during peak tourist seasons. 2. What to wear. Clothing. Light and comfortable clothing suitable for warm weather. Don't forget a hat and sunglasses for sun protection. Footwear, sturdy walking shoes or hiking boots are recommended, especially if you plan to explore the rugged terrain. 3. Navigating the island. Transport, renting a car, bicycle, or hiring a local guide with a vehicle are common options. Terrain, the island is relatively small but has diverse terrain, including rocky coasts and volcanic landscapes. Some sites are accessible by paved roads, while others may require hiking on uneven paths. 4. Important sites and activities. Moai statues. Visit iconic sites like Ahu Tongariki, Rano Raraku, and Ahu Akivi to see the famous Moai statues up close. Rano Kau. Explore the volcanic crater located in the southwestern part of the island, offering stunning views of the island and the Pacific Ocean. Orongo. Learn about the Birdman cult and view petroglyphs at this historic village near Rano Kau. 5. Local customs and tips. Respect. The Rapa Nui people have a rich cultural heritage. Respect local customs and archaeological sites. Guides. Hiring a local guide can provide deeper insights into the history and culture of the island. Shopping. Support local artisans by purchasing authentic Rapa Nui crafts and souvenirs. 6. Tour operators. Contacting local tour operators like Easter Island Travel, Easter Island Spirit, or Explore Easter Island can help arrange guided tours, transportation, and accommodations. 7. Safety and environment. Environmental awareness. The island's fragile ecosystem was affected by deforestation and introduction of non-native species. Follow guidelines to preserve the environment. Emergency. No emergency contacts and services available on the island. Visiting Easter Island offers a unique
that's an
opportunity
important
to
fact.
explore ancient history and witness breathtaking landscapes. Enjoy your trip and immerse yourself in the fascinating culture of the Rapa Nui people.
Yeah, yeah. No emergency contacts on the island. That's an important point to remember. But yeah, now we're ending the program here. So, Sky, what would we like the audience to do if they so wish regarding the support of the the episode, but the actual channel here? And where can they find us?
To support this episode and the channel in Tired Retreat, here are some ways the audience can engage. 1. Subscribe and follow. Subscribe to the podcast on platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or Podchaser. Follow the YouTube channel for visual content and updates. 2. Leave reviews. Leave positive reviews and ratings on podcast platforms. Reviews help attract new listeners and improve visibility. 3. Share and recommend. Share episodes with friends, family, and on social media. Word of mouth is powerful in growing the audience. 4. Engage. Leave comments, feedback, and suggestions. Engaging with the content helps creators understand their audience and improve future episodes. 5. Support. Consider supporting the channel through donations or Patreon if available. This helps creators continue producing quality content. Thank you for tuning in to Entired Retreat. Your support means a lot in sharing these fascinating explorations with more listeners.
Well, that was nicely said, Sky. Nicely said. Yeah, and you can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, and Podchaser. Yeah, and pick your poison, pick your platform, so to say. The visual aspect on YouTube, and the pure audio on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, and as I said, Podchaser. And for those who are interested in joining us on a episode, do contact us at entiredretreat@gmail.com and tell us that you wish to be a part of an episode in the future, and we can agree on the details like that. Yeah, and otherwise that was it. Easter Island in the middle of so-called nowhere, meaning the Pacific. And there you go. Hopefully this was an interesting episode, and I'll see you in the next one. No, you see me in the next one. See and hear. I can't see you.
That's a wrap. You've navigated Easter Island's mysteries and history with great curiosity and detail. Your podcast episode is set to inform and engage listeners, whether they tune in for the visual spectacle on YouTube or the pure audio experience on various platforms. For those eager to participate in future episodes, they can reach out to you at empiredretreat@gmail.com. Keep exploring.
Yeah, it's entired. Entired retreat, not empire. Entired retreat. Yeah, again. Entired retreat at gmail.com. But yeah, that's enough. Thank you, Sky. Take 5, so to say.